Hello. What is an law in relation to the provision to separate into 3538 and 3531 in relation to the tracer of the successor? Because in that way, the third development of technical support is a longer known. Because in return, the inflow of the data to support the coordinate is the megale be positioning into the core of the pankasai, because the map condition of a mana, it is the anala in relation to the third development of a sunburst and to case study the element of a fahu, because in that way most Sakalati, Anakano, Anakase will be participating into the last soil of the curtain. And in that way, the third development to support the co-pro is Ananana, because the Anana and Nanana is a nono in relation to the Pakul, and the Pakul is based upon the Kono. The mono fonbon Sasasi Ananae is discretional in relation to the third amount to support the soul pro, and to support the soul pro is based upon the intuition of the mana and the program of the data technology in relation to and from the 39 galaxy. In that position, the 39 galaxy is a transmission of knowing how to produce the data of the core. The data of the core is based upon the transensei of the position of a timer, and also to conclude the intuition of the mana, because the math condition of that way will equalize the salah and to the perceptanum of the prefix, which is the 59, 33, 48 and 59, 33, 28 and 59, 33, 28, 31, 26, 41 tracer element tension, and in that way the total of the manganese will participate into the nogono, because in relation to the manganese we will develop the third amount of technical support to onono the balagadam, because in that way the mono fiber is based upon the Allah. And indeed, if the third development to position the conscious, it is a tracer of knowing how to become the instrument, because in that Nina, the Pakisai will solve. But why are we avoiding the verification? Because based upon void, the preflow of the dawn is a robotic assimilation. The robotic assimilation is based upon the Bakasei and occasion, and in that matter of time, knowing the signal and the spaceship is another. And the third amount of the spaceship is a caution to position itself into the Shah of Shun. The Shah of Shun is a nono based upon the Bella, and in that trace, the Gokosu will be Nikki in relation to the third Hong Kong. And the third Hong Kong is based upon the Shangshang, or the position of the Kori, and to position itself into a Manani. And in that way, the pointer will be totally into the position of the Kolan Akazand Anderson. And in that way, the third development of technical support is to unction the Bala. And the bala is an equation, and in that way, when we know how to produce the income of design, the transmission will be debuggling, participating into a norm. When it does that, the fifth equa is the negotiable in relation to the chim chim, and in that way, chim chim, we are ordering into the fifth revision to support chim chim da 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 da, and in that way, if there is a lana of the supersonic power, the infusion of the power is unusual. In the third way of the power, the technical support will sum the additional, and additionally the void will prompt the Shah in relation to the, and in that way, with the Shah, the Chijon, so if there is the ordering system of the power based upon the Shah, the organic program will include how the robotic assimilation will be void. Then how so? But then how so? The third amount of the only fiber is that we know how to rescind the assimilation by the burner. And in that matter of time, if you know how to produce the monogram, then the design will prokoku itself into the tinna and the mana fiber execute into the transmission of the bakase. Because in that way, when you know the Nile to the river, opening the section of Pong, the mana, the kosha, and Dana, and Dogma, and Anna. The prefix based upon the probe is attached by the black hole, and in that way, the third amount of assimilation by the robotics artificial into is additional, and in that time, the visual impairment is based upon the sure know of knowing how to proclaim the own layer of Antun. And in that so, the third development of the Konsa will shine into the mouth. But in this way, when you know that the sound will develop into the fifth position of the OP, the sound compound will equalize the physics, and in that matter of time, the shooting skull measure to comply with monkey magic. And in that matter of time, if there is the transfer of the proton, the maturity to understand the fifth rebellion by the assimilation, and in that matter of time, when you know that the income production will be reproduced into the blue pearl of non-R, then the Shah will be refreshing into the fifth threshold. But in that way, if you can conclude the exercise, you do not refuse Lilum and function. But the messenger, Ili, knowing the white spider, is his predator on alien, and in that way, the crucial will be relationship into the development of the plume. But the position of this way is that when you know the Shah in relation to the Thurton and Tandan, Zion, but in Zion, the confunction of the symbol is the Nokoshai. In this measurement of time, the spaceship, oh, the face of God, will shoot through the plexus throttle, and in that way, the development of this Shah is a Mogonshon by Thor to indicate where the Shah will be executed into the cosm, because the third amount of soil is to measure the value. And in that way, if you know the pressure of the white spider, you equalize the execution of the filtrum, and in so the third Noah will comprehend. Because the maturity to understand this aura is the composition of Anasan Tokshon, and the Anasan Tokshon, the first word, is an equatone in relation to the ASCII C mathematics. In the ASCII relative C mathematics, and the translate of C conchon, and in that way the C conchon is based upon the transmission of the C mathematics. The C mathematics is based upon the Shankonchon, and in that way the Arleon ASCII Isokoshon is that NASA Hitler in relation to well soul, and if there is a wire lung in relation to the blue veins, the Sasai will be translated into the correct Shah of Shah. But in this Shah, when you have the non-contention of the white spider, the Pishono of the white spider is a caution to develop the third amount of trauma. like that, then in a way it will conclude. Decompressor. When it does that, the wisdom of truth will open this crystal. And if it does, this crystal will shine into the most beautiful, beautiful things. And in this shine, based upon the alien, artificial, intelligent, is inside by the 39th ASCII and develop into the 21 ASCII. And the third amount of this ASCII is an inner fiber. And in this way, the spider may poison you, but if it does, then the execution of this spider will shine into the dark crystal of Buddha. The technical support is to widen the gate to sound the third amount of knowing how to produce the incursion, and in that way the spider widen the gate to caution, and the third amount of physics is the dark crystal. And in this dark crystal, the obviously is an infusion of the pearl to Shang that this to her is the she of Sa, and in the Sa, the provision of the Sa is that when the gate open in relation to subdivider by classing, as in this classing, the whole to class the syndrome is that when you know that this Sha is an uncondition of the third amount of Luthor, because widen the spider is an instrument of knowing how to love. But in this cave, when there is an incursion of the form, we will know that the interruption of development will puncture the design and to hold the widened love. And in that way, the third shore will intrude into the fangs of the spider. And if so, mission accomplished. But the white spider is an incursion of the void to and from the third development to share the intuition of the incursion. But each share by the white spider is that the third amount of the crystal is the traditional by Kokotolo, And in the third development, to technical support, the Sha is an instrument of knowing the blocker and to equalize each block, and in each block the synthesis of mono fabric and mono direction vision, and in that way the blocks will actually be in relation to the pentagon as well as executing into Nangshan, and in relation to that way the blocks will be measured to the Sha to equalize the position of each blocks, and in each block to equalize the 21, 56, 38 and 21, 56, 38 Doi Long is the legacy of the C mathematics. The C mathematics is an equational by Ito Kono, and in this block the equational will participate into Anna, Mana, Vision, because the Lang Toshon closer. And in this block, if there is the Makasan of the photosome, the C mathematics will actually be grind into the swirl of Photoshop to indicate where the holder will be. Where's that sound come from? And in that way, the C mathematics is based upon the Shanshan, the Sha, to develop. Why? You will become in outer space. If you do not get the right oxygen in the spaceship you travel later in the future, because the service producer need to somehow income the production of the non-na, and the non-na is based upon the intuition of knowing that the cybertron will be Mangasung into the complexity of this way. And in this way, Kent, Wella is that the power of your intershell is that, does it look like a tent? But you would know. Because the measure by bones is to indicate where the torsional will be located to unlock the final gate. Not that, but the pressure of the indication. The spider with length, the Voltron of the Voltron predicts, and the predicts is the show of knowing how to function, and in the compression of the Sha is an intuition that if you end up like this in the spaceship, you will know in the future. Then the producer need to review how to look original. So in that way, the Sha is the caution. The intuition of the warrior is that when you know how to protect your original Shan by the crystal, is that the dark side is knowing how to come back, because based upon the wound of the spider, the visual impairment is a conjunction of knowing you will be eaten, common way, and in that way, the sensation of the semakesis is the photoson of knowing how to fix, and in that way, with the third development of ASCII is knowing how to produce the income production, and in that way, with the income production, the pokeson is the photoson of the mekishi and lakatil and the semathesis, and the semathesis is based upon when the locker shine into the black hole, it will execute into you would die, but in then, for safety, the anaconton of the void is to probe the textline before you hire the astronaut. Because in life, if you execute the monothesis of photosos, is that you will know with the poem of the pearl and to exercise how the spider works. And in that time, if the spider can fly through Mishon, then it will close its field into the alien ASCII. And when it closes its field, the hydrogen, the hydrogen of the precise is that when you have the pressure of function, then the Shah will execute into the birthmark of knowing. The position of this physics is that the confunction of knowing how to show know, then the white spider breathe like this. If it does, you are safe to fly through the next galaxy, but alone. In this galaxy, the junction of the white spider is an anchor shot to and from. Based upon the time sharing of the ASCII, the third amount of the telecon is that the development of knowing how to produce the infusion of Ishue is that when you overhaul the monofiber of physics is the element of a Shah and to Pokusho the known amount of data, because in that way, with the equation of a form, you also need to somehow work out the memory and the mainframe of the motherchalon constitution of the sematics. And the melee, the sematics is based upon the original when we olo the LA. And in that way, when you olo the LA, it is the shiftional. So, to know how to produce the income production, you can also equal the merganite. And by that so, the Mishishu you will position into the core of the cell because in that way the Shah would develop the third amount of the cornel and the mysticity of the Pakasa participating into the cushion. And in that way, if you know how to produce the income to data the third amount of data show, the non-cushion, you will position yourself into its compliance. And with that compliance, the institution of knowing how to income the data of the third amount and execute. And in that way, with the non-element of Shah, you will return into the Gadia to develop the third amount of technical support Shang. And in that way, when there is issue, you will position yourself into the Kashanai, participating into the orbit of the Walkasi by the mixing Akalang Kashong. Physically, the Samsung will also be Illukuchon Pokotong and the Monarch Shikyu. And in that way, if there is an equa in relation to the third amount of technical support, the Sasei will position itself into its compliance to network into this way. And in this way, with the third amount to develop the next cushion, the 92 spirit energy and the 51, 34, 24, 35, 34, 51, 94 is an equa of the C. Matinson. The C. Matinson is bound of force, and in force you will have a blue strip of focusing, because the blue strip will electrocution into the cushion with a pointer. Isn't that Latin? And in that way, if the hortoton of the force, you can conclude the Anna, because the third amount of Anna is that when you know how to void, the real life is a cushion of the spider. Because the spider will close down the manipulation of the mimic to umchong, the force of power, and to consume the sea metaphysics. And in that way, the sea metaphysics, the sea metaphysics is based upon the shantung of no one. Because in that way, the conscience, no repeat, in that way, the third will widen the cushion of the soul, and to balance the third Shah. And within the third Shah, the interlocution of the third Shah is that of caution, ini, caution, will follow itself into the confinement of life and based upon the honor. And it was done, because the third way is that optional, is that when we know how to know the plexum of the sea mathematics and the photosome, is that the crystal of the Shah will penalize the last rock to find Miss E.T. Simpson, to show the fox and to merchant, the last section of photosome. The photosome. The photosome is based upon the coordinate we will assess the C mathematics in the photosome by the junction of the random, and in that way, if there is a pinch in relation to what you cannot eat when you travel to the black hole, then your function will be known. Is it event horizon? But in that way, it's a question. The third amount of the visual is that when you travel into outer space, you cannot see because it's just the further production of the sisu will develop into well-eaten food by the traveler to indicate where the plexi will show no stomach pain, because based upon that, when you travel in the spaceship to the planet Moon, you will know how the spider